You are missing the golden moment right now. She has given you the green light, but you are backing away because you think it's all in your head. You think you're being respectful, but you're actually killing the vibe. Here is the painful truth. Most men hesitate at the exact second a woman is waiting for them to make a move. You are freezing up right when she is hoping you'll take charge. Stop guessing. Stop doubting. I'm going to show you exactly how to recognize the biological signals that mean she is interested and open to you making a move. You need to understand the difference between polite socializing and genuine interest. When a woman is just being friendly, she maintains social norms. She keeps a respectable distance. Her movements are controlled. Her speech is clear. But when she's attracted to you, her biology takes over. Her logic takes a back seat, and her nervous system kicks in. She stops acting social and starts acting instinctual. The signs become subtle, and if you are waiting for her to say, "Hey, kiss me now," you are going to be waiting forever. And this brings us to the core psychological concept you need to grasp: indirect communication. This is how attraction actually works in real life. A woman will almost never explicitly ask for a kiss. Why? Because attraction for her is tied to the narrative. She wants to feel swept away. She wants to feel like the moment just happened. If she has to ask you for it, it breaks the spell. It forces her into the masculine role of leading the interaction. More importantly, she needs to protect her ego. If she signals you with her body and you don't respond, she can pretend she was just being friendly. She saves face. But if she asks you verbally and you say no, that is a direct rejection she cannot recover from. So she puts the ball in your court. She creates the opening, the silence, the look, the pause, and she waits for you to step into it. She is checking your awareness. She wants to know if you are attuned enough to her to feel what she is feeling without words. This isn't a game she's playing to hurt you. It's how human connection works. She signals interest and comfort through body language, not direct statements. And once you learn to read these biological green lights, you will never second-guess that moment in the car again. You will know with strong confidence when to lean in. Let's look at the first two signs, which happen entirely below her conscious awareness. Sign number one is something 90% of men miss because they are too busy looking at her lips. They are hyper-focused on the target, but the real signal isn't coming from her mouth. It's coming from her lungs. I call this the silent gasp. Here is the biology behind it. When a woman is attracted to you and senses that a physical escalation is possible, maybe you've just moved closer, or the conversation has dropped into a lower register, her body responds with adrenaline. This is an automatic response. She cannot control it. This adrenaline affects her breathing instantly. Her breathing pattern shifts from a relaxed rhythmic cycle to a shallow anticipatory state. Pay close attention to her upper body and the area near her collarbone. When you lean in, even just slightly, does her breath change? Does she seem to pause for a split second? That tiny, almost imperceptible shift in her breathing is the biological green light. It signifies anticipatory energy. Her body is literally preparing for what might happen next. If she were uninterested or uncomfortable with your proximity, her breathing wouldn't hold. It would remain flat, or she would physically lean back to create more space. But that shift in her breath, that subtle change you can barely notice, that is her nervous system responding. She is anticipating the moment. If you catch that silent gasp, don't ask from the later. Move slowly and watch her response. If she closes the distance, that's your answer. But maybe you missed that. Maybe the environment was too loud. That brings us to sign number two. And this one is impossible to miss if you know what you're looking for. This is what I call breaking the touch barrier. But we need to get specific here because most men misinterpret friendly touching for romantic interest. We need to talk about personal space. In psychology, this is the study of how humans use distance. Every human being walks around in a bubble. We have our social zone for acquaintances, our personal zone for friends, and our intimate zone strictly for lovers and family. This intimate zone extends about 18 in from our bodies. It is a sacred space. When a stranger or a platonic friend enters it uninvited, we feel threatened or awkward. We pull back. So, Here is the test. When a woman is interested in you, she doesn't just enter your intimate zone. She does so with a very specific type of purpose. She doesn't just bump into you or high-five you. Those are camaraderie signals. No, she engages in what evolutionary biologists call grooming behavior. Think back to a date you were on. Did she ever reach out and pick a piece of lint off your shoulder? Did she reach up and straighten your collar? Did she smooth down your hair or adjust your tie? Most guys react to this by freezing up or just saying thanks, thinking she's just being helpful. You are dead wrong. She is not being helpful. She is being territorial. In the animal kingdom, grooming is a bonding ritual reserved exclusively for mates. It is a primal way of saying, I am taking care of you because you belong to me. By fixing your collar, she has found a socially acceptable excuse to touch you in a sensitive area, your neck area, your upper body, while simultaneously stepping deep into your 18-inch intimate zone. She is testing the waters. She's checking to see if you flinch. If you stay still and allow her to do this, you have implicitly agreed to the closeness. She has broken the touch barrier for you. Think about how much confidence it takes for her to do that. She has to reach out, enter your space, and touch you under the guise of fixing something. If she didn't want to be close to you, she wouldn't want her hands on you. She would stay safely in the personal zone. If you've ever had a woman adjust your clothing or pick something off your shirt while holding intense eye contact, and you didn't make a move right then and there, you didn't just miss a sign. You missed a moment of emotional vulnerability and connection. You effectively told her, I don't see you that way. And that is a mistake you probably regret right now as you're listening to this. But don't worry, because the next signs are even more subtle. And sign number 4 is going to change how you look at eye contact forever. Now, things are getting physical, but in a way that bypasses her conscious mind completely. We are moving from external space to internal preparation. Sign number 3 is what psychologists call subconscious grooming, specifically focused on the mouth area. You've seen this in movies, the stereotypical lip bite. But in real life, it's rarely that theatrical. In the real world, it's subtle. It's a micro movement. You might catch her quickly touching her lips while you're talking or gently biting her lower lip while she listens. Here is the biology you need to understand. She isn't doing this to look attractive for you. She isn't doing it to pose. Her brain is sending a signal to her system because adrenaline affects moisture levels. But more importantly, she is subconsciously preparing for potential contact. It is a physiological preparation mechanism. Her body knows something might happen before her logical brain has even decided to let you do it. But there is a second layer to this sign that confirms the first. Watch her hair and her neck area. If she sweeps her hair to one side, exposing her neck and shoulder to you, pay attention. In evolutionary psychology, the neck represents vulnerability. It's a sensitive area. When a woman exposes her neck to a man, it is a primal display of trust. She is effectively saying, I feel safe enough with you to be vulnerable. If you see the lip touch followed by the hair sweep and the neck tilt, that is a biological invitation. She is clearing the path for you. She is removing physical barriers, hair, clothing, distance, so that you have a clear runway. Now, if sign number 3 is about preparation, sign number 4 is about target acquisition. This is the one you have likely heard of, but I guarantee you are looking for it the wrong way. It is called the triangular gaze. Most men think eye contact is just staring into each other's souls. That's intense, sure, but it's not necessarily romantic. Romantic intent has a specific geometric pattern. Here is how it works. When we look at people socially, we look eye to eye. We scan the upper face, but when attraction kicks in, the gaze drops. Her eyes will travel from your left eye to your right eye and then drop down to your lips before shooting back up to your eyes. It traces a triangle. Why does this happen? It's called target fixation. Her brain is focused on your mouth because that is where she wants connection. She is literally mapping the distance. She is imagining the moment in her mind, and her eyes are following that thought. But here is where you need to be careful. Do not sit there staring at her like a hawk, waiting for her eyes to drop. That's creepy. That kills the vibe. You need to use your peripheral vision. You need to soften your focus. You'll notice it most when there is a lull in the conversation. You'll be talking and suddenly her eyes will dip. It happens in a split second, a quick movement. If she does this once, it might be an accident. If she does it twice, that is not an accident. That is a pattern. And if she lingers on your mouth for more than a second, that is a clear signal. That is her telling you, I am looking at where I want you to be. Combine the triangular gaze with the subconscious grooming from sign number 3, and you have a 99% probability of success. The data is right there on her face. However, even with these signs, guys still mess it up. Why? Because they get confused by what happens next. They see the triangle, they see the lip touch, and then she pulls back. She goes quiet. She stops talking, and the guy thinks, oh no, I misread it. Before we get to the final sign, the one that destroys more potential relationships than anything else, we need to look at sign number 5. This is your biological lie detector. It is the only sign on this list that she cannot control even if she tries. Sign number 5 is pupil dilation. You might have heard that pupils dilate in low light. That is true. But in the context of attraction, something far more interesting is happening. When we look at something we find appealing, whether it's a delicious meal, a pile of cash, or a person we're drawn to, our sympathetic nervous system triggers a response. It commands the irises to pull back to let in more light. Why? Because your brain wants to take in as much visual data of what interests you as possible. So look at her eyes. Not just the color, but the black centers. If you are in a dimly lit bar, sure, give it a margin of error. But if you are in a standard environment and her pupils are noticeably larger, making her eyes look more open and expressive, that is oxytocin and dopamine hitting her brain all at once. You can fake a smile. You can fake a laugh. You cannot fake dilated pupils. It is physiological proof that she is engaged with what she sees. But even with the pupils dilated, even with her biting her lip, even with her breaking the touch barrier, most men still fail. They fail because they hit a wall of silence. And this brings us to sign number 6, the twist, the game changer. Sign number 6 is the meaningful pause. Listen to me very carefully because this is where you have messed up in the past. I want you to go back to that moment when you were together. The conversation dies down. You've run out of stories. The laughter fades and suddenly silence. What do? If you are like 99% of men, you panic. Your brain screams, emergency, it's awkward, say something, make a joke. Ask her about her cat. Do anything to stop this silence. You feel the energy rising in the room and you interpret it as bad. You think the moment is crashing. You think she is bored. So you open your mouth and you start babbling. You fill the air with nervous chatter. And in that exact moment, you just killed the vibe. You just took a sledgehammer to the connection she was carefully building. Here is the truth that will change your dating life forever. That silence, it wasn't awkward. It was meaningful. It was full of expectation. It felt heavy because it was waiting for something to happen. The moment of connection. When a woman is interested in you making a move, she will stop talking. She will create a vacuum. She will create empty space. Why? Because words are the barrier to connection. You cannot connect with someone while you are talking about your job. You cannot move things forward while you are debating politics. To get to the next level, the verbal channel must be shut down so the physical channel can open. Think about it logically. If she were actually feeling awkward or if she didn't want you to make a move, what would she do? She would talk. She would fill the silence herself. She would create a verbal shield. She would chatter about the weather, her friends, her schedule, anything to keep the interaction friendly and platonic. Noise is a barrier. Noise keeps you in the friend zone. But when she goes quiet and she holds eye contact and she doesn't reach for her phone and she doesn't look around the room, she is handing you the moment. She is sitting in that energy with you, waiting to see if you are confident enough to handle it. She is observing you. She is thinking, is he confident enough to just be present with me and lean in? Or is he going to break under the pressure and make a bad joke? When you rush to fill that silence with words, you are telling her, I am uncomfortable with connection. I can't handle the intensity. You are signaling insecurity. You are showing her that you need constant verbal validation to feel safe. So the next time that silence hits and you see her pupils dilated and you see her looking at your lips, do not speak. I repeat, do not say a word. Shut your internal monologue off. That feeling you have, that is simply the energy of the moment intensifying. Lean into it. Let the silence hang there for 3, 4, 5 seconds. Watch how she reacts. If she stays in it with you, if she doesn't look away, she is practically inviting you to close the distance. You have the signs. You have the biology. You have the psychology. But knowing all of this is useless if you don't have the mindset to execute, because at the end of the day, a sign is just a sign. It requires action to become a reality, and that is what we need to wrap up with. The final shift in your thinking that separates the men who succeed from the men who just watch the moments pass them by. You have the roadmap now. You know how to read her breathing, her eyes, and her silence. But information without action is just trivia. The biggest mistake men make once they see these signs is asking for verbal permission. Can I kiss you might sound polite, but in the heat of the moment, it kills the energy. It forces her to step out of her emotional brain and back into her logical brain to answer you. It breaks the flow. Instead of asking, you lead with respect. You create the moment, and you do this using the 9 out of 10 rule. Here is the rule. You lean in 90% of the way. You close the distance, you enter her space, but you stop just short. You leave that final 10% for her to bridge. This is the ultimate test of the signs we just discussed. If she leans in that final 10% to meet you, that is enthusiastic agreement. That is genuine connection. But if she stays still or pulls back, you have your answer without a single awkward word being spoken. You simply pull back, smile, and continue the conversation. No harm, no foul. You showed confidence by initiating, and you showed respect by not forcing anything. Stop waiting for a written invitation. Stop looking for a neon sign. The signs are biological, and they are happening right in front of you. The dilated pupils, the silent gasp, the triangular gaze, they are all showing you that she's open to you making a move. If this video helped you see the matrix of attraction, I want you to prove it. Go to the comments right now and type the word aware. Let me know that you are done being oblivious and you are ready to trust your instincts, because the only thing worse than being rejected is looking back years later and realizing she was waiting for you the whole time. Don't be that guy. Stay sharp.